Get ready for a wild ride through the world of finance. Today's Market Quick Take will leave you on the edge of your seat. Market drivers and catalysts. Equities. The U.S. market hit new records, fueled by expectations of a Fed rate cut. Europe remains steady, with MA talks balancing out French political drama. Asia showed strength, led by Hong Kong and the chip sector. Volatility. Despite upcoming macro data, the VIX remains calm in the mid-teens. ETF outflows indicate investors are cautious, with options pricing suggesting a plus 24-point move in the SPX. Digital assets. Bitcoin and Ethereum trade steadily, with crypto markets maintaining order. Cboe's announcement of 10-year Bitcoin and Ethereum futures signals a shift towards regulated crypto TradFi convergence. Fixed income. U.S. Treasury saw a sell-off despite negative payroll revisions. Japanese government bond yields jumped on a potential rate hike, while the Germany-France yield spread widened. Currencies. The USD strengthened slightly, with USD JPY rebounding. AUD showed resilience, while EURAUD hit a new low. Commodities. Gold dropped on signs of fatigue and profit-taking, but dip buying returned overnight. Silver and platinum lagged, while crude rose on Trump's tariff threats and geopolitical tensions. Macro headlines. Trump threatens new tariffs on India and China for buying Russian crude, but only if the EU joins. A judge blocks Trump from firing Fed Governor Lisa Cook. The U.S. economy added fewer jobs than initially reported, with a minus 0.6% adjustment, suggesting a weaker labor market. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent calls for rate cuts, acknowledging the need for better economic facts. The Reuters Tankan Index for Japanese manufacturers soared to plus 13 in September, post a U.S. tariff deal. French President Macron appoints Sébastien Lecornu as Prime Minister, focusing on political stability and service to the people. The BOJ considers a rate hike this year despite political factors, with Bloomberg reporting a likely steady rate on September 19th. Macro calendar highlights. 0600, Norway August CPI, 1100, U.S. SEPT MBA mortgage applications, 1230, U.S. August PPI, 1430, EIA's weekly crude and fuel stock report, 1700, U.S. to sell USD 39 billion 10-year notes. Earnings events. Inditex, Adobe, Kroger, and more are set to announce earnings this week. Stay tuned for updates. Equities, USA, SP 500, NASDAQ, and Dow rose as rate cut hopes persisted. Apple disappointed, while Alphabet and United Health jumped. Oracle's after-hours rise sets up a strong software tape today. Europe, Stocks 50 and Stocks 600 gained, with basic resources and MA activity supporting. FTSE 100 rose slightly. ASML and BP tracked crude gains, while Anglo-American and Italian banks saw gains on deals. Asia, tone firmed into China inflation and the Fed. Nikkei and Hang Seng led, with Samsung Electronics extending chip gains. Volatility. Volatility remains calm, with the VIX curve signaling little urgency for hedging. VIX-linked ETFs saw outflows, indicating investor caution. Controversial interpretation. Should investors be concerned about the potential for a market correction given the recent calm and volatility? Digital assets. Bitcoin and Ethereum trade steadily, with crypto markets orderly. U.S. spot Bitcoin ETFs saw inflows, while Ethereum flows were mixed. Altcoins show strength. Fixed income. U.S. Treasury sold off despite negative payroll revisions. Strong foreign demand for 3-year treasuries. Benchmark yields rose. Japanese government bond yields jumped on a potential rate hike despite political factors. The Germany-France yield spread widened, with Italian 10-year debt briefly trading at lower yields than French debt for the first time. Commodities. Gold dropped on signs of fatigue, but dip buying returned overnight. Silver and platinum lagged, while crude rose on Trump's threats and geopolitical tensions. Diesel futures are this month's top performers after gold, supported by tight supplies and backwardation. Currencies. The USD firmed slightly, with USD JPY and Euro USD rebounding. AUD showed resilience, while Euro USD hit a new low. And this is the part most people miss. The market is a complex web of interconnected factors. From global politics to economic data, every move has a ripple effect. Stay informed and don't miss the bigger picture. Quarterly outlook diversification is key in today's uncertain markets. With global fragmentation, investors must navigate a complex landscape. Q3 Investor Outlook. Beyond American shores, diversification is your strongest ally. Q3 Macro Outlook. Less chaos but more clarity is needed on Trump 2.0's impact, upending the global order, witnessing a once-in-a-lifetime shift as the new order takes shape. Equity Outlook. The high cost of global fragmentation for U.S. portfolios. Asset Allocation Outlook. From Magnificent 7 to 2,645, diversification matters now more than ever. Commodity Outlook. Commodities rally despite global uncertainty. Macro Outlook. Can the U.S. have its cake and eat it with Trump 2.0? Equity Outlook. The ride gets rougher, but diversification can smooth the bumps. China Outlook. The choice between retaliation and de-escalation. Commodity Outlook. A bumpy road ahead calls for a diversified approach. Stay tuned for more insights and analysis. Don't miss out on the latest market moves and their potential impact on your investments. Content disclaimer. This content is for informational purposes only and should not be considered investment advice. Saxo Bank provides execution-only services and all trades are self-directed. Before making any investment decisions, seek independent professional advice. Saxo Bank does not guarantee the accuracy or completeness of the information provided and assumes no liability for any errors or omissions.